Imagine floating through a pitch-black expanse. There is no gravity here, no sound, just an endless stretch of absolute nothingness, interrupted only by the occasional glowing rectangle hovering in the dark. Those distant rectangles aren't stars. They are the backsides of everyday mirrors, bathroom vanities, hallway glass, bedroom dressers. From this side of the void, a mirror acts as a thin, permeable membrane looking directly into physical reality. For the entities that inhabit this space, those windows are a lifeline. They glide from frame to frame in a perpetual state of near starvation, licking the glass to lap up whatever trace amounts of human energy might leak through to keep themselves alive. But there is a catch to this ecosystem. A quiet, peaceful household produces nothing. To a starving parasite, a happy family is a biological desert, leaving it no choice but to drift aimlessly through the dark, hunting for a better harvest. What these creatures actually need to thrive is chaos. The high-calorie fuel that sustains them is raw domestic hostility. When an argument breaks out in a living room, the entity presses itself against the reverse side of the glass. It can literally taste the electric charge of human conflict radiating through the silver backing. It will follow a screaming match from the kitchen to the bedroom, shifting from mirror to mirror, gorging itself on the heavy atmosphere of anger and misery until the house is completely drained of tension. Every time you lose your temper and a private fight escalates behind closed doors, you are ringing a biological dinner bell. You are broadcasting a wide area signal straight into the dark, alerting every apex predator nearby exactly where to find a feast. Detecting a meal and actually reaching it are two different things. These parasites cannot smash through the glass by brute force, and passive ambient tension is not enough to pull them across the threshold. To breach physical reality, they require a specific multidimensional catalyst: acknowledgement. Human imagination serves as the literal doorway. When someone on our side starts projecting their active fear toward the dark, or worse, gives the shadow a name, they provide the entity with a physical form. Giving the entity a distinct identity dissolves the structural integrity of the mirror. The boundary between the void and the physical room collapses entirely. An invasion like this is never a random attack. It is an unwitting invitation, signed and delivered by the psychological vulnerabilities of the people living inside the house. Consider a specific, documented encounter. Deep in the void, a new beacon suddenly flares to life. It is a lone bathroom mirror, burning blindingly bright, signaling a massive sudden spike in energy. The starving entity drops its slow drift and accelerates. It slithers and glides through the blackness with terrifying speed, locking entirely onto the fresh scent. It tastes the energy as bolts of yellow lightning. On the other side of that glass, a violent, chaotic domestic fight is echoing through the halls of a family home. But the real prize is locked inside the bathroom. A young boy named Ryan Brassington is hiding from the shouting, radiating pure, concentrated terror. Terrified of the noises outside and whatever might be lurking in the dark with him, the boy speaks. He acknowledges the presence. He gives it a name. And in that precise moment, his fear catches the entity like a rushing river, violently ripping it through the glass and into our world. The environmental chaos of the warring parents cracked the door, but the direct, targeted fear of a hiding child kicked it wide open. It was the perfect storm for a breach. Once the parasite lands on the bathroom tiles, its behavior immediately shifts. The frantic, desperate hunt is over, replaced entirely by a state of passive gluttony. The fighting in the home does not stop, which means the terrified child continues to leak an endless supply of high-grade energy. The entity feeds freely, drinking in an unlimited food source practically hand-delivered by its host. With no scarcity to keep it in check, the biological consequences are severe. The entity begins to rapidly, grotesquely expand, its mass spreading outward and permanently staining the emotional atmosphere of the entire hallway. This infestation has stabilized into a permanent symbiotic nightmare. The family now actively sustains the very infection that preys on them, day after day. The physical toll of this endless feast eventually reaches a critical mass. The creature has gorged itself so entirely on the household's ambient misery that it has ballooned to a size far beyond its original form. This chart shows the brutal irony of the breach. Even if the entity wanted to return to the void, its mass now completely dwarfs the dimensions of the very bathroom mirror that birthed it. But it has absolutely no desire to leave. Why would it? The perpetual cycle of hostility and terror echoing through those rooms provides every ounce of sustenance it could ever require. Cruelty and fear within your own walls act as biological fuel for things in the dark. It is impossible to evict a monster that you have purposefully overfed.